Hey everyone, it's Emily. I'm here to talk to you today about this new trend I'm hearing about called loud budgeting. Now, it's really funny because when I first heard those words, I was like, oh, that's totally me. I'm really loud and I love budgeting, so I should surely love this new trend. And for the most part, I do. I think it's really interesting. I think it's a great way to get people to talk about their expenses. But there's some things that I don't love about it. So I figured I'd come on here today and just talk to you about what this trend is and how I see it through the eyes of someone that's been budgeting for a really long time. So the idea of loud budgeting is that we're very clear and communicative with our friends and our family about what expenses we're not going to pay for in 2024. What are we going to cut out of our lives so that even if we have the money to spend it, we're not spending it. We're becoming more conscious of what we're spending, and we're taking a look at what could I cut out? What could I live without? So from that perspective, I absolutely love this trend. I love encouraging people to stand up and say, I can't afford that today. I'm not going to go out with you, but why don't you come over and we'll hang out and do something else instead? So I love that. I love talking about the word afford with your friends and with your family. I think a lot of you know I talk about that with my children, that it's okay to say, hey, I can't afford that right now. It's not in my budget, so I'm not going to do it. What worries me a little bit about this trend, though, is that we are calling out a very specific thing. So I've heard some people say, I'm not going to buy food at the movie theater anymore. I'm going to sneak it in my purse. I mean, for the most part, I think we all do that anyway. Don't tell the movie theater people. But things like that, yeah, they can add up and they can help. But where does that fit in your bigger picture of your budget? How does that really impact your financial health? Are you not going to have anything at the movie theater? Are you going to bring snacks that you can afford to buy and really think that through before the occasion happens? When we call out just one or two things and say we're not going to do those things, that's great and it can be helpful. But is it sustainable? Is it something that you can really commit to? And will it have a real impact in the long run? Another one I heard somebody say was, I'm going to cut out all delivery fees for 2024. Again, great. Go do your errands and your grocery shopping. Don't order off Amazon. Don't have anything delivered. That's fantastic. Actually, one of the things I've cut out for February of 2024. But what does that mean for you in other ways? Are you going to be spending more on gas? Are you going to be distracted by other items in the stores that you're going to that you wouldn't have bought if you were shopping online? So there's a trade-off to all of these things, right? The other thing is, it's great to hear people say out loud, I am not spending on whatever it may be. But what I really want to hear people say is, I have a budget. I want you to look and say, it's not that I'm cutting this out of my imaginary budget and I am not picking one or two things and saying, I'm not going to spend on that this year and see what happens. I want to know that you have a tool, a full budget that's really tracking what's coming in, what's going out, so that you know that cutting out snacks at the movie theater is going to have a real impact for you. And then what are you doing with those savings, right? So it's great if you can save money to find items in your budget, to find those nitty-gritty line items where you can save a few dollars. But if you're really using a budget, you are giving those saved dollars another job. You're making them work for you in another way. So if I'm going to save $15 this week by cutting something out of my life and be really loud about it, I'm also going to be really loud about what I'm doing with those $15. So I'm putting that into a high yield savings account. I'm putting it towards savings account of a big purchase I'm looking forward to. I'm putting that towards higher education. What am I putting that money towards? For a lot of people, you might need to put that towards paying down your debt. Because although you might have the cash on hand to be doing all these things that you're now cutting out, it's very likely, based on consumer trends, that you have debt. And those dollars should be going towards paying down that debt. Or, as I said, saving for an important purchase. So what I want you to do is I want you to do loud budgeting. But it has to be true budgeting. There has to be a tool or a spreadsheet, something you're using that is showing the income that you have coming in, the expenses you have going out, and what you're left with at the end of each pay period. And then I want you to take those line items, the ones that you probably don't need, or you could live without for a little while, pull those line items out, and then get on TikTok and be very loud about what you're cutting out in 2024.